All right, we're going to switch gears here and turn to the Mark in downtown Moline. Neil Diamond played the venue's very first show back in May 1993, but a lot has changed in the last 30 years. The average number of concerts held at the Mark has dropped from more than 26 shows a year back in the 90s to just 17 and a half per year in the 2010s. Now this summer, Vibrant Arena at the Mark has 0 standalone concerts booked in June, July, or August. So what's causing this shift? That's where Quad City Times reporter Gannon Hanevold comes in. He's got a weekly music column in the paper called Sounds Good, and he did a deep dive into the Mark's concert bookings. So Gannon joins us here in studio today. Gannon, thanks so much for making the drive across the river.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let's start with who you get to chat with. Who did you talk to for this story?
So I talked to Executive Director Scott Mullen at Vibrant Arena, and he was super candid about everything that goes into the Mark's process, and so I was able to learn a lot that as a music fan I was curious about.
So what do you have to say about the decline? How many shows have we seen less of?
So as for this summer, he sort of hinted at, and the data that they shared with us indicates that summers are usually a little bit drier than other seasons, just because there's competition with other outdoor venues. A lot of artists prefer to be outdoors in the summer. But the general volume, a couple of reasons that he pointed out, there's rising ticket prices. It's a lot harder to get people sometimes to come to shows, and for that, it's caused the venue to be a little bit more shrewd. That's the word that Scott used with what types of shows they book. So they've had to be a little bit more stingy in terms of getting acts that they know are going to sell well.
Well, people who have been around the Quad Cities for a while know that there have been some big hip-hop names to come through. Even Snoop Dogg, was that 2 years ago, that came through? But that hasn't been the case recently, really. I mean, how many hip-hop concerts has the Mark seen?
There have been 3 rap concerts with rap headliners since 2009.
Wow.
The last one, you mentioned Ice Cube and Snoop Dogg, that was 2022. 2016, there was Lil Wayne. 2021, there was Lil Durk. The one that caught my eye in their history, 2008, Kanye West and Rihanna. But some of those shows just didn't sell well, is at least what Scott Mullen told me. That Kanye show in particular, Quad City Times old archives hint at about 5,000 tickets were sold for that show, and the capacity is about 11,000 at the Mark. So some of the rap shows just didn't sell well, and Scott sort of hinted at that, it goes, but the agents and the promoters that are trying to book shows, don't want to go places where it's not going to sell, and obviously, like I said, they have to be a little more shrewd at the venue too.
So what kind of concerts are you most likely to see at the Vibrant Arena at the Mark?
We've seen an increase since they opened 30 years ago in country shows specifically. That's probably the biggest thing that we learned when looking through those old records. You'll see it too, just anecdotally. I know I, as a music fan, see, obviously there's a lot of country shows. Last year, Morgan Wallen, that was a huge event. It was the most profitable show in the history of the Mark. They gave him the championship belt, WWE style. It was a whole event. There's been other stars that have come through recently, Blake Shelton, Cody Johnson, stuff like that.
Now, what did Scott have to say about rising ticket prices and Ticketmaster in particular?
Obviously, Ticketmaster is a point of concern for a lot of music fans. It's those fees specifically that a lot of people are concerned about. But as for what Scott had to say, first of all, he said that ticket prices are set often by the artists and their promoters, in fact, always by the artists and the promoters and not by the venue. And he said that a lot of those fees that you see that everyone gets frustrated by when you're checking out, that those go back to the artists. I think a lot of people, those fees, what Ticketmaster really makes a buck on is resale. That's probably a big thing. But yeah, that's sort of what he pointed to. And he said that Ticketmaster is not a concern and that he's a huge fan of their product as a broker for the venue to work with.
So what does all of this mean for the Mark? If there's less shows being played throughout the year, is the venue still seen as profitable and viable?
It has been profitable for the last 20 years. An average of about $700,000 in profit each year is what Scott Mullen told me. So it has managed to stay profitable even with all of the changes. So the Mark is still our staple on the river that it was when Neil Diamond opened, but the scene around it has certainly changed. There's competition with other cities, competition with other venues. It's gotten a little bit more difficult to get A-list talent, and with rap in particular, Scott mentioned that a lot of rappers just sort of skip mid-sized cities and prefer to go straight to your Chicagos, your Minneapolises, things like that. So it's a little different, but the Mark is still here to stay.
$700,000 a year. That was a surprising number to me. I guess I assumed it was going to be a lot more.
Yeah, and I think it goes to show, you know, that shrewdness, right? You got to be creative with what shows you bring in. And like I said, I'm a diehard music fan. I've been a music fan my whole life, and so I've always been curious to see sort of how the sausage is made at a venue. You know, when you buy tickets, you don't know. And so I learned a lot from this experience writing this story. And like I said, I appreciate Scott being super candid. And yeah.
Well, Gannon, I appreciate you coming on here and sharing your reporting with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You guys can check out Gannon's weekly music column, Sounds Good, in the Quad City Times every single Wednesday. Gannon, thank you again.